Park's Island, a land inhabited by hundreds of different dinos that are out for blood. At least most of them are. I set out to see if I was able to take on the challenges of the island and beat it in 100 days. Except, there's a twist. I will be doing this in hardcore mode, which, if you don't know, means that if I die, my character's level gets completely reset to 1. However, I'm going to change this up a bit, and say that if I die, I will delete the world forever. Day 1. I create my character, give him a very creative name, and spawn on the calm beaches of South Zone 1. I wake up dazed and confused with nothing but this weird thing on my arm and underwear. I spawned in right next to a green drop that I knew for a fact I was not able to open, but I tried anyway. My goal was now to level up so that I could open it. In an attempt to gain XP, I attacked an innocent Dilo and quickly put him out of his misery, and then immediately harvested his body for some hide which I knew I would need later on. Eventually, I was a high enough level to open the drop and was honestly surprised to see what was in it.
Hey, that's pretty good.
While gathering cooked meat so I didn't starve to death, I decided to take another life.
No.
So that I could get some keratin, which I would need to train on saddle later. I then split the meat so it was spoiled for more narcotics. I then crafted a raft and set sail. The first and last stop was this island with a few explorer nodes that I could use to gain some levels. After grabbing all the explorer nodes, my raft got stuck, so I decided to take the rest of this journey on foot. This was a bit risky, because on this island there are a couple of things that can kill me very easily, and I don't think I can outrun these things yet. Speak of the devil. After sprinting away from the Theory, I swam across the river in search of another explorer's note, reached level 69, and came across a parasaur that I just couldn't resist taming. On 12. I peacefully knocked it out, and crafted some hide armor while waiting for it to tame. Tamed up pretty quickly, and I wanted to name it Flops because, well, it flops, but I messed up the spelling and just couldn't be bothered to change it. I grabbed the nearby explorer node, and in an attempt to escape the raptor, I took to the water. Just when I thought I was safe, I remembered that Sarcos and Piranhas spawn here, and sure enough, they attacked. I was just gonna say there's definitely a Sarco in here. Okay. This is not good. Just get me on land. Just get me on land. Just get me on land, and I won't outrun it, but it's fine. I saw another parasaur and used it as bait. Get aggro on that one. Not on me. Oh my god, it worked. Lops got to live another day, and I came across the area that I chose was going to be where I built my small temporary base. As night fell, I made a small base with a forge and a campfire and decided to hide for the night so I would not take any more risk that could get me killed. As the sun slowly began to rise, I made a smithy and a metal pickaxe and was ready for the next day. I know what you might be thinking. Tyler, you did a lot in just one day. And to that I would say you're absolutely correct. This is because I never changed the day and night speed, and when you have boosted rates with normal time, things seem to happen a lot faster than they should. Day 2. I started day 2 by smelting more metal and making a crossbow. I placed a mortar and pestle and started making some narcotics so that I could start to build my dino army. I then made an axe and a pike, and I was now fully equipped and ready to take on the challenges of the world.
Yeah, boy.
At this point, I realized I needed more tames and figured the next best thing to get would be a pteranodon. After searching for way too long, I came across a level 20, which I figured I'd settle for. I knocked it out and quickly gave it food, and as I was waiting for it to tame, I heard the sounds of death in the distance and quickly realized that this tame was never meant to be.
Emotional, damn it!
killed the tech raptor, but it was too late. The terror was dead, and my feelings were hurt. Why? I needed that. I walked back home with nothing but the feeling of defeat and some materials I got from harvesting the raptor. Crafted a set of flak armor to better protect myself, and I ended the night by making narcotics and train dogs. Day 3. Day 3 started off with me searching for another Terra, and I ended up finding level 40.
Wow!
I tamed it up and named it Flaps. I really need help with better names. The first thing I did with my new ability to fly was explore. And while doing so, I stopped at the volcano for crystals so I can make spyglass, which is essential in this game. As the sun began to set, I flew around searching for either a Carno or a Rex to tame, and this search carried into day 4, and I sadly had no luck finding a decent level. The rest of day 4 I did nothing. I left my PC running while I went to go and eat and forgot to pause the game. Day 5. You'll never guess what I did. That's right, nothing. Again, my PC was still on. In the night from day 5 to 6, I decided to go and look for a Rex or Carno again. I came across a level 64 Rex, which was good enough for now. I just needed something to get meat with. After following it around and shooting it with cranks, it finally went down, and after a few minutes, tamed. I couldn't think of a name at the time, so I just started to walk it back to my base. Don't get too attached. It died within 2 minutes of being tamed because I decided to try and have it fight an Alpha Raptor, and it bit a down for time. Why? As the day went on, I decided that it was time to move my base to an area that was closer to the center of the map, the redwood. I found the area that I wanted to build and decided to go and look for something else to tame. I eventually came across a level 44 Carno that I figured would do the job. Tamed up, and I named it Chomps. Seriously, help, please. I'm now realizing that I completely missed the opportunity to name it Stomps because, well, I immediately walked it over my soon-to-be base location and locked it in a wooden box until the base was done. It was now day 7, and it was base building time. I had a pretty decent idea of what I wanted it to look like in my head, so I went off of that. All was well until I left for 2 seconds to get some wood and saw this on the top of my screen. My only good method of transportation and safe way to get out of the redwood was murdered. As I went to check to see what happened, I saw the bear and feared that I was next. He was pretty chill though, so we went our separate ways and he never bothered me, so I forgive him for what he did. I worked through the night into day 8 and all of the walls to my base were finished, so now I figured it was time to bring my Carno over to the base. I ran there on foot, terrified for my life, but made it back safe. I then crafted Chomps a saddle and went on a murder spree. While I was out, I decided that it was time to get another flyer, and to my surprise, the first RG that I looked at was a level 120.
Ooh, that's a good one.
As night fell, I made a trap for it and let it into it. I knocked it out, got some prime meat, and tamed it. As day 9 began and it finally tamed, I gave it what I think to be my most creative name yet. Before heading back to my base, I got some metal since RGs have reduced weight on it, and I needed it back at the base to make a few things. After getting back to the base, I figured I should go and get flops and everything else from my old base and bring it to the new one. So I grabbed an explorer's note and took flight. After Lops was back, I started getting materials to make a fabricate. I needed some more crystals, so I decided to go and get a bunch so I had extra. Started my flight back as the sun set and had a pretty relaxed. Not so relaxing. Eventually, I got back to the base and placed my fabricator. As the sun rose and day 10 began, I made some forges so I could smelt metal quickly. and I decided that I was tired of getting dehydrated in my base, so I made a pipe system directly up to it so I always had something to drink from. I then repaired my flak armor and made a generator and a light so I could actually see in my base at night. After everything in the base was settled, I decided that I wanted to start my Rex army for when I fight the bosses. So I crafted more narcotics and trank arrows and set out to look for another high-level Rex. This took me 5 days. During those 5 days, I also got a lot of drops with some decent loot, so don't be surprised when you see that. On day 15, I found this 116 Rex on Carno Island, and the level's kinda bad, but it's the best I've seen in hours, so I figured it would work. I trapped it, tamed it, and then realized that I actually needed to get it back to the base. I needed cryopods, but I couldn't just leave my Rex here, so I made it a stone box. I don't know why this was always my first choice. And then left to make some cryopods. After making them, I came back and got the Rex and brought it to my base on day 17.
I choose you!
As the sun set, I decided that it was time to make some sort of wall to stop other dinos from getting into my base. After getting some spiked walls around my base and some behemoth gates, I wanted to start my breeding base. This took me all the way until day 21 because I'm stupid and couldn't figure out how circle floors work, and I had to go on a few metal runs for the ACs, but I got it done. For the rest of the day, I went out looking for a male Rex but didn't find anything. Shocking, I know. On day 22, I decided that my breeding base could use some more light, so I made it a light for the inside and some spotlights for the top so I could see the area around it, since the amount of piranhas in the water was alarming, and if I was going to have babies walking around in it, I need to know where they are. On day 23, I finished making the ACs for the breeding base and went on a hunt for a male Rex. This took me 2 more days. On day 25, I found a whopping level 108 male Rex, but was so tired of looking for them that I decided that it would do and tamed it. I got it back to the base and immediately got down to business, and the Rex breeding was on. I know what you're thinking. Tyler, why is there such a big gap in the days on the top left of my screen? Well, I did nothing but breed Rexes for 10 days. Day 36 was going, and I decided that I had enough of breeding Rexes for the day and wanted to make an Ascendant shotgun that I got from a drop earlier. I needed polymer, and figured the best way to do that was to get organic polymer, so I went to the Arctic and murdered an entire family of penguins. I got back on day 37 and realized that there was just way too much organic polymer to fit in the fabricator with the rest of the stuff, so I had to make some real polymer, which I was trying to avoid altogether. I'll spare you the boring stuff, just know that I went on a lot of cementing paste runs and obsidian runs because I didn't get enough 5 times in a row. I then had to wait for all the polymer to be made, and by day 42 I had a new shotgun and some ammo. Of course, I needed to test it out, so I went out and killed a Diplo. Okay, damn. I got back and started to make some more ammo, seeing just how broken this shotgun really was. I then went AFK for 2 days. I don't remember what I was doing, but yeah, 2 days. I got back and saw this compy trying to get into my base, so let's just say he didn't make it. In the night from day 44 to 45, I figured I needed more metal and was tired of getting it with a pickaxe, so I went out to tame an Anki. Found this level 104 that was being attacked by some saber-tooths, so I saved its life and then forced it to work for me. Took a while to tame, and when it did, I named it Spike because I'm not creative. When I got back, I made Spike a saddle and went on a metal run. I then spent pretty much the rest of day 45 smelting metal and breeding more Rexes. On day 46, I decided that I wanted to tame a Thyla. A decent one took forever to find, but I eventually found a level 88. After it tamed, I wanted to do a cave, so that I could get levels and maybe some good drops, and, oh yeah, the artifact. I quickly realized that this probably wouldn't work, but I decided to keep going. As I progressed through the cave, I came across some snakes, and then this happened. What? My game crashed.
This is so bad.
I was really scared because if it put me back to where I was, then the snakes might get me and kill me. And once again, if I die, I lose everything. Don't kill me, don't kill me, don't kill me. Let me live, just let me. I loaded back in, and it rolled back to before I even tamed the Thyla. There's no way. Part of me was relieved that I didn't die, but the other part was annoyed because I would have to tame the Thyla again. Oh my god. Spoiler alert, I didn't. I chose to use the Carno instead, since it was already level. This cave run went a bit smoother. I didn't get any crazy drops, but I got the artifact and left. I eventually got back to the base and decided that it was time to get a sloth so that I could fight the broodmother. This search went all the way until day 52, and I didn't even find one. I just decided to expand my search to a Dodec 2 because I needed stone to expand my base. I found a 145 which I needed to tame, and brought it back to my base. I used the resources from the Thyla trap, which the game basically gave back to me, and trapped it. It tamed, and I immediately went to work. As I finished up the base, I decided I needed a forge, a real one this time, and I went to get all the stuff for that. I learned from my past mistakes, and didn't even try to get organic copper. I just made it all. This didn't take that long since I had the Dodec from stone, I just needed paradigm. So I went on a hunt and killed everything in my sight that dropped it. It took me a while to get this forge. Bad news. I lost the recording for the next couple of days, and by next couple of days, I mean it's now day 64. But I made the forge, and tamed a male and female sloth that spawned basically on my base, and I named them Sid and Sidette. I bred them a bit, and had a couple of sloths, so that's what you're seeing here. Oh, and I made a chem bench apparently. Damn, how much did I lose? Business was booming as the Industrial Revolution hit my world, and I had cementing paste being made like it was nothing. After making a lot of CP, I wanted more ammo for my shotgun, so I went and got some flint and stone and used all the charcoal that I had left over from my old forges. I let that cook for a bit, and when I got back I had a bit of gunpowder. I started crafting some ammo and then went to breed my sloths again. The babies popped out, and to my surprise I had my first mutation already. With my sloth army growing, I decided to go through the swamp cave. So I made some scuba and some ghillie and was off to the cave on day 66. This cave was not nearly as difficult as the last one, and I pretty much swept through it. I came across this red drop and got an ascendant saddle for the new big bug thing they added a few days ago. Nothing else really happened in there, and I left. Yes, I forgot to get the artifact. But I wasn't worried, I'll go get it later. All of the baby sloths were grown, so it was time to expand my army more. After the babies were all imprinted, I figured I should go and get the new dino just to see what it was all about. The following is for educational purposes only. I found one of the bugs and killed it since I knew I needed the pheromone, and I couldn't find any more, so I spawned one in. Yes, I can do that. I had no plans on using this dino and just wanted to see what it can do. Eventually, my Rex got impregnated, and I cryoed it to bring it back to the base. Don't do this. It got rid of the baby, which I should have known. So, I spawned another one in and raised that one instead. It was pretty cool, the stats weren't half bad for a level 13, and it was pretty fast. Also, it can swim. What? Oh, and pick up Rexes, because why not? People are calling this thing the Sky Giga, and they are not lying. Okay, now say goodbye, because it's the last you'll see of this thing other than it being in the background. I couldn't find it in the recordings, but through my sloth breeding, I got a purple mutation. Here it is. As day 70 rolled around, I set out to do the Carno Island cave. This cave was really easy since I just did the whole thing with the Rex.
While Megalosaurus is not the most powerful.
Day 71 was more sloth breeding, and I redid the swamp cave and got the artifact. After that, it was time to get a Yudi, which I needed for the boss fights. I just couldn't find a good one, so I tamed a 130 Daeodon instead and named him Dave. After bringing him back, I made more trank arrows and went to tame a Yudi for real this time. This search took way too long, but I eventually found a 120. However, it refused to follow me, and I couldn't trap it. After trying to get it to follow me for a while, I got off the bird to try to shoot it, which was a big mistake. It scared my bird away, and I had to kill it before it killed me. I hate this game so much. I immediately started looking for another one on day 74, and I came across a level 75. It was good enough, I figured I just needed it to roar at my dinos a bit while they fought a boss. It eventually tamed, and I never named it because I couldn't think of anything, and I brought it back to the base and made it a saddle. On day 76, I went to go and do the 2 caves in the Arctic. The first one I did on foot and didn't really have any problems doing it. I grabbed the artifact and left. The next one I did with my Rex again, and it took a bit long. I eventually made it out with the artifact and my Rex really low on health. I then went for the other artifacts, and nothing really interesting happened in these caves. After that, I did more sloth breeding. On day 78, I went to tame a dolphin so I could do the underwater caves. Tamed a level 100, and spent some time leveling up its movement speed so I could quickly swim past anything that would want to kill me. I did the first cave and got the artifact of the cunning, and quickly went over to the other side of the map to get the artifact of the brood. At this point, I was pretty much ready to fight the bosses, I just needed more sloths and the tributes. I was doing the brood mother first, so I went out to get some snake venom and sarco skin, which took way longer than it should have. For some reason, the snakes just refused to drop the venom. After that, I was pretty much ready to fight the brood mother, so I just spent some time breeding and imprinting more sloths, and then realized that I should get more Rexes, so I bred those too. Spent the next couple of days up until day 87 breeding more dinos and leveling them up by having them brutally murder newborn babies. I don't know why there's no audio, but on day 87 I brought my sloths over to Green Ob, and after they woke up, I made sure that they were all in range so they could be teleported in. And just like that, it was boss fighting time. I really don't know why the audio didn't work, and it's really annoying me, but at least I recorded it. The Broodmother boss fight was going well, but I couldn't shoot it because my UD would run in, so I was just stuck roaring the whole time. Things felt like they were going fine, but then my sloth started to die. And then they started dropping like flies. My heart was beating so fast, and I was scared that I was really about to lose it all to the Broodmother. I got in there with my UD to get as much damage in as possible, and we were luckily able to beat it. I got back to the base and was honestly scared to fight the gorilla. I wasn't sure if my Rexes would be ready for it. So I spent some time leveling up their melee a bit more and figured that they were all set. I went to go and get the tributes, and I couldn't find the Megalania toxin. I knew I had it from the cave, but I just didn't know where. After searching for like 10 minutes, I found it in my Dodex inventory. Don't know why it was there. I got to Blue Ob and threw out my Rexes. After they all woke up, I moved them around to make sure they were all in the circle. This was a lot harder than the sloths, since trying to steer a Rex in a tight area is like trying to park a semi-truck in a normal garage. I got them all set up, and it was go time. I was so unbelievably nervous going into this, and, well, I shouldn't have been. Its health was being drained, and I forgot to roar until like halfway through. I beat it, and then traveled my base to get ready for the next fight. Oh my god, I forgot I have to kill a Giga and squids.